This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Oh, I'm a boxing fan. I find that people overrate Floyd Mayweather Jr. a little bit because he faced fighters with top-end power. He ran away a lot during those fights. It's not that he ran away, Anthony. It's that he's a defensive fighter, and he's always been that. When he was young, he had power. But I think he had some kind of a wrist injury years ago, and he lost some of that power, and he ended up boxing instead. And so he'll outbox you and outpoint you. It's not really that he is not the guy to stand in the middle of the ring and just blow by blow. He'll lose a lot if he does that.
From a tactical standpoint, and the guy was a beast.
Right, and you got to understand, Anthony, that the trick in boxing is to hit and not be hit. He is one of the greatest of all time doing that. Almost no one has ever done it better than Floyd Mayweather, where he can hit you and he can avoid you.
Defense number one, right?
And yes, the best.
Best
defensive
no
fighter
question, right?
I have ever seen in my life is that guy. It's the best defensive fighter I have ever seen in my life. And that's why some, like you, look at it that he's running away, but he's actually boxing. And that's the difference. That's what a boxer does. He sticks and moves, sticks and moves. He's not a puncher. He's not a brawler. That's not what he does. Sugar Ray Leonard was a lot like that. Sugar had more power early and throughout his career than Floyd Mayweather. But Sugar was smart enough, except in the Duran fight, where he outboxed you most of the time. And the one time that he thought he was going to be Mr. Tough Guy, he stood in the middle of the ring with Roberto Duran, and he lost. Because you don't do that with Manos de Piedra. If you do that with Manos de Piedra, you will lose. And that's what he did, and he lost. And in the second fight, it was like the chicken and Rocky, the first go-around. He danced, he boxed, and he frustrated Duran to the point that he said, no mas, because he couldn't catch the chicken. And it wasn't that Sugar was dodging him. It was that Sugar outboxed him. And that's the beauty of boxing. That's the art of boxing. When you can stick and move and the other guy can't hit you, that's the ultimate fighter in boxing. We all want the warrior that will stand there toe-to-toe and just pound each other. Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had the combination of delivering big blows, but he could also box. So when he beat, oh man, now I'm forgetting the guy he just beat. Somebody help me out there. Now I'm brain farting, but when he beat the big dude that is just a fighter, that was his problem, that he could only fight. He could only brawl. And once he ran into a boxer in Fury that could box and move and avoid big punches, he was done. So it's not really the art of running away. It's the art of being a great boxer. And that's what Floyd has always been. Even though it may frustrate some people at times, but nobody is like him. He's been, second to none.
Tyson Fury, wild.
But yes, there we go.
That's the two guys.
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the guy from Georgia.
Yeah, that's
American, and Tyson Fury.
And Wilder can't box.
Look, we've said it before.
Wilder looked like a complete fool against Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury can box and punch. That's the difference.
Oh, like we've said, they don't call it brawling. They don't call it punching. They call it boxing.
Yep.
It's boxing that wins.
Yep, exactly. Tony Segala says, loving the Spider-Man mask, Big O. Finns beat the Jets 31-10. I like that, Tony. Big O, if Miami shuts out the Jets, suck. Will Gase really keep his job? I vote yes. They will. It looks like they're It looks like they're holding on to him to get Trevor Lawrence. Hey, if we keep him in place, we're guaranteed of 0-16. We'll get Trevor Lawrence, and then we can either trade Trevor or we can trade Sam Darnold. Obviously, you trade Sam Darnold. Let's see, what else do we have here? Because my favorite fighters are Oscar De La Hoya and Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Canelo Alvarez. All right, that's fine. Oscar was a boxer too. Now he was a puncher. He could also get in there and brawl. But there are certain guys that are just beautiful fighters, right? And that's what Mayweather is, man. Now listen. The one thing I could pick on Mayweather at times is he was very calculated when he picked certain fighters at what point in their careers and all of that, like what he did with Pacquiao. He didn't pick Pacquiao when Pacquiao was in his prime. He waited 7 years till Pacquiao was old and not the same guy so he can beat him. Because maybe 6 years prior, Pacquiao had the punch and was a boxer. It was the dangerous combination that Mayweather probably did not want to deal with. Those kind of things I can pick on Mayweather for. But as the strategy of how he, what he does in the ring, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's the perfect fight. We remember it well, obviously, being Sugar Ray guys. Marvin Hagler against Sugar Ray. And Hagler was kind of like the puncher, the bruiser, and Sugar Ray. And of course, the Marvin people think that he beat him.
Right.
Man, it's like in the 9th or 10th round, and this is what simplified the fight, and it's like Sugar. The fact that he dominated the pace, the tempo of the bout, and it was like the 9th or 10th round, and he's got Hagler so aggravated, and he throws a punch and just far off his weight, and Sugar Ray sidesteps him and is able to throw a kidney punch.
Right, yeah.
On the side of Hagler, like he steps away.
And he scored points.
And it was like that one exchange shows that the boxer frustrated and aggravated the puncher.
Yeah. But Sugar also waited till Hagler was old to do that fight.
Well, he saw...
He didn't fight a younger Marvin Hagler because...
He saw what Hagler and Tommy Hearns did those 3 rounds and was like, I'm not doing...
That would not have been a good decision on his part.
Oh, man, the most punches
Marvelous was amazing when he was young.
Yeah, that fight...
Great fighter. Great fighter.
We were very lucky to have those 3 guys. And there was even more, in the middle weight class. But, man, Hagler, Hearns, Sugar Ray.
Hagler was one of my favorite fighters. And when Hagler was coming up, I believe this is how it went. I think it was Hagler. I'm pretty sure. I'm kind of old now, so I don't remember everything. But I was a young man, and I wanted a color TV in my bedroom. So I bet my dad... because he was a Fulgencio Oba Mejias fan. Most of you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, but he was a boxer, Fulgencio Oba Mejias. And he was fighting Hagler. I believe that's what it was. And so I remember going to the Radio Shack in Miracle Mile, and I saw a color TV. It was like a 23-inch television or something like that. It was small TV. But in those days, that was like highfalutin, in those days. It was like a big thing. Because we're talking, I want to say late 70s is that fight, I want to say. Look it up, Marvin Hagler versus Fulgencio Oba Mejias. All right? Do you know how to spell Fulgencio, Mr. American?
No, but Google does, bro.
Okay.
Guess who's using the speaker?
Tell me what date was that fight. I think it was Hagler versus Fulgencio Oba Mejias. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was a huge Hagler fan watching him come up on HBO. I had the HBO antenna at home where you didn't have cable or anything. You just had an HBO antenna. Those were the days where you either had HBO or on TV. Remember that? And you would, watch in the middle of the night the on TV line, hoping that it would move to the left and you would see, Anyway, so HBO, I would watch Marvin come up. And
bro, I love the speaker when it works.
What is
you
it?
Ready for this?
What is it? What year?
It's 29 days after your birthday, by the way. October 30th, 1982.
Oh, 82. There you go. I thought it was late 70s.
Hey, during that time, it was still a big thing. If you were a kid and got a TV
color
in your
TV.
room.
Color TV.
In your
remote,
room, bro.
Remote.
Dude, in your room. You
Yeah,
remember?
in my room. Color TV remote.
Back in the day, there was like one in the big room with the family, and there was maybe a secondary, but it was in the living room, the family room. You didn't get a TV in your room.
Right.
You were lucky.
So Oba Mejias is a good fighter. He thought he would beat Hagler. And I said, okay, let's bet that Hagler would win that fight, right? And I bet with my dad, rest in peace, that Hagler would win. And sure enough, we went to Radio Shack the next day, and I got me a color TV so I can watch HBO.
What was the inches on that, bro?
It was like 23.
A 20. Yeah, that was big.
It was-
that was good size,
yeah, it was
right?
like
Back in the day.
Yeah, it was a nice size TV, maybe 21 or 22 or something. But it was just over the 20 mark. I forgot how much, what it was exactly, but it was.
You would have to buy the special adapter to hook up your Atari.
It was so
everything.
fresh, bro, because it had the little digital channels on it in those days, like little red numbers, you know. So it had the up arrow, down arrow. So it was channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 10.
You still would have to get the attachment to hook up your Atari, right?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
And then I
Thank
had
God for Radio Shack.
And then I had a remote with it. So, you know, you had a color remote TV in your room in 1982. That's huge. I mean, that was like you're a king. Seriously. You're a king. Like, everybody, like the kids in the neighborhood are like, you got a color TV in your room? That kind of stuff. So it was awesome. It was awesome.
That was about the time that I got the hand-me-down, the third TV.
What was
'Cause I bought the new one.
By the way, what was Fulgencio Oba Mejias' record in that fight? See if you can find that. Well, you got his name there, right? Just put Oba Mejias versus Hagler and put measurements. Put Oba Mejias, Hagler, measurements, and maybe it'll come out. There we go. Julius 305 says, on TV lines on Saturday night, you too, Big O? Of course, bro. What young man wasn't waiting for that on TV line to switch to the left and you go, wow, boobies. Yeah, of course. Every young man was doing that.
Chasing that line, trying to get it right.
Of course, bro.
Bro, rabbit ears, ready? Rabbit ears connected with tinfoil to touch your screen in the window so you could get a better signal.
Everybody had some funky way of doing it and trying to see on TV one way or another. Let's see. What else do we have here? Tommy Hearns versus Hagler might be in the conversation for the best fight of all time, or one of the best knockouts of all time, right? Because that's the one where Hearns is boom, and he
do
goes
know this.
right to the ground.
The record for the most punches thrown.
Tommy didn't have the best chin in the world.
Most punches thrown in a 3-round fight, and I forget if it's the second or third round, but the most punches ever thrown in a single round. That fight, yeah,
that was a great fight.
Oh,
it was a great fight. I think Larry Holmes was the most dominant heavyweight champion of my lifetime. People don't talk about it much because no one could touch him for years. Yeah, but he also was in an era where it was one of the worst eras of heavyweights too.
Ken Norton, Ernie Shavers, all the guys that had that were decent fighters they
were old already.
It was
they were done.
Unfortunately,
He had a great jab. His jab was, awesome. But he also was blessed that he stepped in an era where it was useless, dude. It was everybody, Muhammad Ali, everybody was old and done and cooked, and so it kind of worked out for him. He's a great heavyweight. I'm not going to take anything away from him.
He had it for what, 9 years or something? It was a long run.
It was a long run, but I still think Tyson did the same thing. I got to tell you, there wasn't really a lot of people the heavyweight. That was the start of the end of the heavyweight. Put it that way. Okay? Well, let's be honest now. When Holmes started, it was the beginning of the end of the heavyweight division.
Who was the best second?
Because we love Tyson mauling people, but he mauled nobody. Really, let's just be honest. He was just a brawler and all that, but he didn't run into anybody until Holyfield, who was undersized as a heavyweight. But again, let's go back to our conversation. Boxing. Boxing is the art of hitting and not getting hit. What do you think happened to Tyson in that Holyfield fight? He got frustrated because he didn't have it to fight a boxer because he was a brawler. So most guys, you could get to him and hit him. Holyfield was a tactician, ate him up alive. He frustrated him so much he bit his ear. Duran said, no mas, no mas. Tyson said, let me get a piece of you. The other way. You know what I'm saying?
Who was Holmes' biggest guy? Maybe Leonard Spinks, right? Because Leonard had won the title and Holmes took it from him. Like
Tyson killed him.
Yeah.
So
well, that was Michael. Again, that was Michael Spinks, right?
No, I'm saying Tyson beat Holmes.
Yeah. Well, Holmes beat Ali. Yeah, after Ali took it for the 5th or 6th, it was his 5th or 6th.
He beat an old, fat
yes.
Ali.
That was the thing. Ali took it from Spinks, right? Leonard Spinks.
Yeah, Leon.
I'm sorry.
I was every time I see that Ali, it was like, come on, dude, don't fight. Get out of there. Get out of the damn game. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and then Larry looked like that against Tyson.
Yep. I hated Larry Holmes for what he did to Muhammad Ali. Well, I mean, that's Muhammad Ali's fault. Not anybody else. Muhammad Ali got all that Parkinson's from hanging on to boxing. Guaranteed. I am convinced of that.